Shalom, family. Thank you so much for joining us for the Evangelist Corner here at Remnant House, the home of the strong and the very courageous. And every week we have to stop what we're doing, right? Because we're ready to go. Got the week going, ready to fly, ready to roll. Yum Rashan, ready to hit the ground roll. And what up? You got to stop. Talk about evangelism. Got to talk about getting people saved. Can't forget that this is an important element of our work week. After all, this is the Great Commission. Everything else we do is busyness while we wait for the next opportunity to get people saved and get them in the water, right? That's all we're doing is busyness in between. That's why they call it busyness, right? Isn't that why they call it that? It's just the stuff we do until we find somebody else to get them saved, right? And then what we're doing? I thought that's what we were doing. So anyway, we want to make sure that we encourage you every week and be as positive an encouragement as we can to talk about this topic, especially in this era, because it is, of course, a more challenging time than ever to share the gospel, to share the good news of the kingdom throughout the earth. And of course, so many of us are learning many of the lies of our past generations, maybe some created history, maybe some remanufactured archaeology. We're finding out all kinds of things. And so it's very important that we support and encourage one another through this time period. This is an epic time period that you're going to want to look back on and say, where were you? It's going to be a where with you kind of moment in the earth. So for those of you that are grabbing the epicness of this moment, we welcome you, and we certainly encourage you to join us and share the link with other believers in Messiah. And joining me today, of course, is my brother David Colon, who comes along, Mr. Evangelist himself, getting people in the water. I said that's what business
Shalom,
is.
shalom,
Well,
shalom.
right, David?
That's absolutely correct. That's our sole mission in life. Get them in the water.
We
Get
can't
them
get you in the
clean.
water. Not this week. Okay, so next week. Okay,
Right.
so we'll just wait.
It's a big decision for some people. So, you can't rush them. They know intuitively, they know in their ruach that this is a big decision.
Yes.
So it's kind of a put up or shut up, but it really is really more of a series of the moment, and there's no turning back from it. That's the thing.
Right.
Once you're there, you're there.
That's right.
And yeah, there you go.
Folks,
There you go.
that is really just the purification ceremony that was done in the temple. It was actually quite common among the priests to
Right.
wash. So baptism was essentially adopting you into the royal priesthood. So again, the mikvah, which was actually quite
Yeah.
common in prior to the coming of Mashiach. That's why John was doing it, because again, it was rebaptizing or reconsecrating the people onto Yahuwah.
Remembering, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
Reattaching yourself, right?
Reattaching yourself.
Recommitting yourself. So again, some people may do it just because they may say, "Hey, I want to recommit. I want to rededicate myself." Isn't that right, David?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's obviously always one of the biggest motivators is
Mm.
getting back and getting into the assurance that you're in the right place amongst
That's right.
believers.
That's right. And there should be fruit. And this is one of the things that we talk about a lot because
Yep.
we are empirical evidence kind of people.
Yep.
And, we need to be able to see empirical evidence. Empirical evidence means evidence that you can see, that it can be tested or reviewed, that requires a verdict.
That's correct.
It is too in your face to not require a verdict. What the verdict may be, we don't know. What you decide it means, what I decide it means, that's one thing or another, but at least it's something we can evaluate, right? That's
Absolutely.
called empirical evidence. And when we're dealing with different topics, that's something that, especially as we've gotten older, David, we really we gravitate toward, don't we?
Absolutely. When he told me, hey, you're gonna go this the all natural route. You're not going to be stuck in some hospital. You're not going to be stuck on these medications. You're going to do it my way, and
Right.
I'm going to show you, and it's going to come from the inside out. And that's the way it has always been with me, but really in these days, really paramount, really key. to make sure that that's coming from inside the ruach
Yeah,
out.
tell me. So explain that a little more. Like, how do you mean that, as far
Well,
as your experience?
my experience has been, you can hear all the things that you want from the outside, okay, and but it really doesn't resonate because it must come from the inside out. The true, authentic believer that has the ruach, it comes from within them, and he's the one that says, "Nope, I don't want you to do this, but I want you to do that. I don't want you to do this because this is no good, but I want you to do this."
Right,
So that is, kind of always been my MO, but it's really getting stronger as these days go on. So
right. Well, that's interesting because, in Deuteronomy, so not New Testament, so that's kind of an interesting concept, um, and something that I think people might find surprising, considering our Christianity understanding of the sort of division between the New and the Old Testament.
mm,
And that he says in Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 16, circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart and be
yes.
no more stiff-necked. So
Mhm.
he was speaking about this way back there,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
about the circumcision of the heart coming from the inside, which is what you're describing, David.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. He writes his Torah on the inside of your heart. And so when you don't be surprised when it comes out naturally, because
That's
that's
right.
the way he set it up.
That was the
Because
idea.
that was the idea. So, because when it comes from out here, people can get full of head knowledge,
Right.
okay, and they can get full of themselves, and they can think that I got a better idea. See,
And have you ever noticed that the people that love to stand up and pontificate, usually when you hand them the golf club and say, "Yeah, show me," they struggle at that point, right? Why is that?
absolutely, absolutely.
Because some people talk and other people walk, and Yahuwah is designing us to walk the walk, not
That's
just talk the
correct.
talk. Isn't that right,
Come
David?
on. And that's why he designed it to come from the inside out, so that there's no ambiguity of where it's coming from.
Right. And that makes the most sense when you really stop and think about it. You say, "Oh, that was always the plan." Yes, that's always been the plan from the foundation of the world, just as it
Mhm.
says that the Lamb of Elohim Hayam who was slain from the foundation of the
Yes.
world. And so this plan was always the plan that your heart would be circumcised and that
Yes.
you would learn his ways from the inside out as you worked out your salvation with fear and trembling. And you know all things, as he says in First John chapter 2,
Mhm.
you have
Mhm.
an unction, which is down here, an
Ah,
unction from the Holy One, and you know all things. But how many know just knowing something? Okay, come
come
on
on.
now.
Come
How
on.
about knowing it and then having to churn it into an actual productive thing in your walk, in your life? That's a recipe that's now gone into the oven. Come on, somebody.
Come on. That's called religion. Uh, let's not get that
Well,
twisted.
what I'm saying though is that in order for things to manifest, there
Yes.
needs to be a going from nothing to something. There's a recipe. There's things that combine. There's ingredients. You don't make bread from just imagination. Somebody better be doing this
Beating
to the
that
dough.
dough. You
Yeah,
better be
right. There's
beating
work
that dough.
involved.
Yes.
Exactly. And so when the Gnostics come in and turned all things kingdom into just philosophy, okay, and the Gnosticism takes over to where people are just standing around imagining themselves successful, imagining themselves wealthy, imagining themselves happy, imagining themselves having the right spouse or the right life or what have you. And 20 years later, all that imagining did not do a thing for them. And they're
Ooh.
still imagining and snapping their fingers, David.
Oh, that sounds very familiar. That sounds like
Yeah.
what we just came out of.
You know, in the
Just saying.
80s, they went hog wild for New Age and hog wild for visioning and,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, trying to imagine. And Gnosticism, it seemed like, got repackaged in every possible way.
Yeah.
And what was forgotten was to circumcise, therefore, the foreskin of your heart and be no more
Mm,
stiff necked. Against
yes.
what might you be stiff necked out there?
Oof. I
And
love
this is why I say this is the hardest time to reach people, because there's so much stiff necks, isn't there, David?
Ah, my goodness, it's tiring, to say the least.
Yes, it's
But
exhausting.
you
Yeah,
know, it is exhausting, but nonetheless, you know, I have found over the course of time that if you just keep consistent, just keep the message consistent, keep saying the same things, keep showing empirical evidence, you
right.
know, like you know, with your grace and your love and your mercy towards your brethren. You know, these are the kinds of things that this is the empirical evidence. Like he says, show your fruit.
That's
Okay.
right.
Don't just think about your fruit. Don't just think, oh, I have some fruit. No, you show your fruit in the face of adversity, in the face of people basically, you know, spiritually
Yeah,
spitting on you, you know, the whole 9 yards. Oh, yeah, that's whatever, you know. But you just keep being consistent. You keep loving them. You keep showing them
that's good.
the love of the ruach, or the love of the Father
That's
that
right.
is in you, and they
Many of them are going to
eventually
crack
love
because you love
wins.
them. They
Yes,
crack. They're going to
they
crack.
crack. Yes,
They're going to
they
be
do.
like, you're going to love them in that moment. They're going to be like, oh, you should hate me right now. And it's like,
No,
nah, I love you.
yeah,
I love you. I
I-
can't hate you. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I know you're all mad, or you're doing what you're doing. Or, man, some
Mhm.
people hate themselves, and then they see themselves in you, and they wish differently about their own lives. And so you got to be really careful. This thing we are involved in people is the most dangerous thing we can be involved in.
Yes,
Is
it
with
is.
people.
Yes, it
You know,
is. It's messy
uh,
ground.
messy ground, man.
It's messy ground.
He
You
said,
know.
"Behold, I send you forth as lambs amidst wolves." Okay,
Wolves.
there's a
Yes.
reason why he said that. He's like, "You guys need to be careful. Wise as
Hmm.
serpents, harmless as doves. Walk
Mm,
gently among the people, right?
that's
Because there's a
correct.
lot of opinions out there, and
Oof.
those opinions can be deadly.
Oh,
They really can."
they're laden with all kinds of evil thoughts and all kinds of stuff, you know, that's actually even not even true. So,
Well, and I think the hostility against the gospel has been there since the very beginning. So we know that the Pharisees were very angry about the gospel, right?
yeah.
So we know that from Jump Street, right, guys?
Mhm, mhm.
And thank you again for joining us from all over. Thank you so much. We love you guys.
Yes, yes.
See the comments in the chat, and do share the link so others can join in on a conversation. And do prepare your questions. We love your questions and your
Mhm.
topics. We're going to have we should have a visit from the roving reporter here in a minute, um, but I really want to comment on this, because I think that so many times we think of things and we throw them to the Old Testament, or we throw them away in churchianity and Christianity, that now is making a comeback as people are realizing that, hey, we threw the baby out with the bathwater. All right. We were trying to
Correct.
throw away Talmudic stuff. We were trying to throw away man-made commandments. We were trying to throw away man-made ordinances. And we
Mhm.
ended up throwing away the Kadosh ordinances of Yahuwah. Oops, we need to go back and
Yeah.
eat the hay and leave the straw.
Right.
Right. So that's called rightly dividing. And that's what's starting to happen now, isn't it, David?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, quickly, my family over there yonder got wind that you know, I was doing this whole natural thing, and man, all of a sudden they're starting to do it.
Right.
They're starting to say, hey, hold on a second.
There may
There
be,
may
something to it.
there may be something to this. So anyway, that's the point, is that you just have to just keep being consistent
And just continue to love one another.
and
You know,
love
one of
them.
the things that we have to
Yes.
have is a lot of patience. And I see sometimes people's patience run out
Yeah.
because they have an agenda, and
Mhm,
we can't always move at your speed. I'm sorry
mhm.
for that. But we are over inundated with our own things that we're battling.
Oh yeah.
But we are grateful for everybody that steps in and helps. So the better thing to walk up and say is, how can I help? Not, where's this and where's that. I think right now we're seeing a lot of stretch going on in the work of the ministry, more than I think we've ever seen before. Joining us is our roving reporter.
Did he make it?
Come on, Jeffrey.
Get off that surf. Get off that surfboard, boy.
Light us up. Get off the surfboard, Jeff. Come on and talk to us. What's happening out there in the world? What do you got? What do you got for us from the street? Talk to us, Jeff. What's the lowdown?
The latest report that's going on. Well, one good thing. Just found out there's a new policy in the White House that just got established. This is a new rule, a new policy.
Oh gosh.
The new rule, the new policy is that for the next war that Trump starts, he has to at least be able to find the country on a map. It's a new requirement. It's a baseline requirement. Baseline on a map. He doesn't have to know any detail. He doesn't have to know any details like whether it's going to block fertilizer and cause 2 billion people to starve. He doesn't have to know any details. He doesn't have to know what the Strait of Hormuz is, but he at least has to know. He has to spell the country and be able to find it on a map. Baseline requirement. So good.
Well, that's good.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good news out of the White House. Thank you for that update there, Jeff. Mm-hmm. So what else is going on besides craziness coming out of that department? Because that's, as far as I'm concerned, a theatrical performance.
Yes.
That has been ongoing for nigh on 25 years now. Ever since they ran out in 1999, they really ran out the clock then. This country's been kicking the can down the street ever since. So who knows? Maybe we're about to. Maybe that's why they're. Maybe there's a reason why the knives seem to be out. It's because we're about to find out about just how bad this is. But interestingly enough, I don't think too many people are sitting up wringing their hands, even with the conversation about war, because they're so caught up in their own battles and their own lives. Don't you guys think?
Absolutely. That's the whole distraction thing, let's distract them. And truth of the matter is there's a lot of people that are facing health crises right now. So people
they're already in a war
around my age bracket. Yeah, they're already in a war. And it's a war.
Yeah, everybody in America is in an economic war.
Body.
Yep, they're fighting an environmental war. They're finding out about things in their environment they didn't know were there. How about that, Jeff? How about the waking up to everything that you didn't know was there? How about all the attacks that you're under, physically, mentally, emotionally? My goodness, we're all at war, aren't we, guys?
Yeah, we are. And if we look at the first, well, I'll say the first ecclesia as the example, the Book of Acts probably wasn't the first, but. They were proactive, like you said, Apostle Peter. They put work behind their faith. They didn't just stay in and have meetings only. They got out there. So I'm wondering how much, when you're in a fight, there's no way out other than to kind of punch your way out. It doesn't stop until you hit the other guy in the nose. So how much of it have we given up? Or I hate to keep coming back to this, but this is, as you're talking, this is what comes to me. How much of it we're not praying around our neighborhood, and we're not praying for each other, and then it's too late. By the time that you get fired or the job's not there or there's problems with the family, it's too late. Proactively praying for one another, proactively praying for your family, it's your ministry, your block, your neighborhood, your school. And maybe when Messiah said, "Take the land, occupy the land, and take it by force," maybe that wasn't just purely metaphorical. Maybe that's part of how Yahuwah was able to show up more by seeing us take action, by seeing us step forward in faith.
Because evil triumphs when good men do nothing.
Boy, I gotta agree with that. I could not more wholeheartedly agree with every word that you said.
Yeah.
And the fact that go ahead.
No, sometimes we think in terms of physical only, but he fights our battles. So we should try that first. Is what I'm saying. Yes, of course, be prepared to defend yourself. Yes, defend your home. I'm not saying all of that, but try him first is what I'm saying. Or also
try him.
Well, he asks us to try him on these
Yes,
things,
he
right?
does.
So when we honor him, and then he says, all right, now that essentially it's like honor me and then try me. Okay, honor me and come talk to me. You do it right, and then come talk to me, and let's talk about these problems, or let's talk about your community, or let's talk about your environment, or whatever the battle is. Come honor him, respect him, and then come tell him the battle and watch the difference. That seems to me the message that we keep getting confirmed. That he continues to confirm, not just a message we're preaching or a message we discern from reading. No, a message he keeps confirming, as it were, with signs and wonders following.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm amen. And I think he's ready to do that. I think he would confirm. I'm talking to myself too, because I'm making a joke, but. Have I gone and applied oil around the White House? Have I, have I gone on prayer walk? So, today
they might arrest you because they're looking for anybody walking around anything, right?
No comment.
Yeah.
The last time he confirmed, but they're. So, but that doesn't mean good men don't keep trying, and so it doesn't get easier.
Notwithstanding political things, which I think is a distraction. More importantly, I think that and this is just me, call it the grandfather, call it the aged apostle, call it whatever you want, but to me, the person that's walking that block and is saying, you know what, take that strip club somewhere else, okay, not on my watch,
come on,
and we're standing in faith. And we're going to stand together, united in one accord, to keep this a community where children can come up safely, where we're not encouraging certain behavior and certain groupings or gatherings of those that might be given to certain proclivities, right? So what are you doing? You're getting ahead of the problem, and you're going, not here, somewhere else. We don't know, but not here. And we're talking about this today, weren't we, David?
Yes, exactly. Yep. The one of the counties that is right across, it's like less than a mile away from me, does not allow any adult clubs, no strip clubs, no adult magazine clubs, none of that stuff. They don't allow any of that in their county. And that is, we were just saying earlier that's beautiful.
Well, it's a good example.
We wish they all would do it.
Yeah, what we're talking about is how that's a good example of some people, right, who said, I don't know what y'all doing over here. I don't know what y'all doing over here, but up in this here county,
that's right.
Up in this here county, y'all don't be bringing that.
Right, exactly.
We got a cheering. We got a cheering up in here, right?
Yes.
So you can hear these people just determined to make sure that boundary stayed firm. You gotta have respect for that. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, what comes with that? The people that did exactly what Dave just described, you just described, maybe the business people there are more in faith. Maybe they'll invest more. Maybe a new development will come in. More jobs will come in. People can give more to ministry. An atmosphere of faith and open heaven maybe that's the solution. Part of the solution to what I'm saying that the individuals are dealing with that you were talking about earlier.
I think that's an excellent point. I think the economics in a county or the economics in an area, since that seems to be so important to certain peoples. Okay, well, fine. Let's use the measurements of that. I think that the Qumran community would have blown away a lot of other communities because of their cohesion. Their love one for another was the number one thing. And I think that anytime you get people united, working together, you're just going to defeat the scattered and the fragmented. You just are. I mean, all you got to do is watch any playoffs of any sporting event. So if you're a sportsman and you watch any playoffs, whether it be football, basketball, or baseball or whatever, you're watching team events where people learn to coordinate. And the best coordinators win.
And I want to encourage what David said along those lines. He's offered to I believe, I'm not speaking for you, you've offered to coordinate those type of outdoor prayer walk events under authority.
All kinds of different things you do.
Yeah, and I've never once seen it not confirmed, whether it's the psychic shop closing or what have you, and it's always followed by.
I know, right? Ever since like the 90s.
And it gets brighter for some reason, even if like new streetlights have to get put in somehow, it'll just be brighter, more faith. You can feel it. And I just believe that that's part of the solution to the things you were talking about, Apostle Peter, about individuals. We fight our way out, and
and arising in the land, right? Getting up and walking your neighborhood means I've arised through the land, through the width and the breadth of it, and walking on it. And you're declaring.
Speaking life.
Territorial spirits. You're coming against blood that's been spilled on that land. You're coming against rituals. You're coming against witchcraft. You're coming against Satanism. You're coming against generational curses. You're coming against a lot of things, and you're coming in the name that is above every other name.
Come on.
Tell me that ain't warfare. Tell me you're not going to war. Somebody grab a shofar. Let's do this.
I did it. I did it. It's completed. Now you pick up your cross daily. Make it of effect. Make it of effect. Take my sacrifice blood and apply it in faith. The enemy doesn't care. The enemy already said he's an outlaw. Okay, he's not going to follow. You got to go show up. So you're
expecting them to somehow behave themselves, because you drove by and said, wagged your finger. No, you got to go take over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the demons showed up, or more legal permission was showed up because of spilling of innocent blood. Oh well, I lost my job. Oh well, the economy's been bad. Oh well, this problem all of a sudden happened. This problem.
A lot of going on there.
Yeah, well, maybe kick him out. He gave you the authority. It's completed. It's finished. He's waiting. You're his hands and feet. You're his body.
How many times I wonder how many problems were only a 3-day fast away from breaking?
Amen.
How many things are just a 3-day fast? So you get 2 or 3 brothers saying, you know what? What are you battling? Okay, what are you battling? You know what? Here's my battle. Let's put it all together at the middle of this table. We're going to fast for each other. We're going to pray for one another and ask Yahuwah. I'm going to ask him to bless you. You're going to ask your brother to bless him, and he's going to pray for me. And we're going to pray for one another, and we're going to ask Yahuwah to show up. I double dog dare you.
Triple dog dare you.
What you just said, that's it. To me, what you just said is it. Yeah, amen. That's it. We talk about all the problems with the last century with escapism and futurism, but what's the bottom line? The bottom line is what you just said. The mentality of the body not organizing. The mentality of the body. The only thing the enemy has is they're organized. They don't have any power, but
But they sure do make a lot of noise, right? Exactly.
What Peter
they make a lot of noise.
That's it.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to say it again, just for the people in the back that may not have heard me the first time. Evil triumphs when good men do nothing.
Yeah, that's all that's required.
When good men do nothing.
When we leave the good men on the sidelines, some of you are, you're like, oh, I'm 56, I'm done. No, with that other career. Now maybe it's time to be council president. Maybe now it's time to be, a councilman. Maybe now it's time to be
a warring intercessor. Board,
yes. No, I mean actively involved in these things, getting involved in the county level, getting involved in a city level, being on the city commission or something, and saying, I don't know if I feel like it. I know you don't feel like it, but we need believers. Okay? We need brothers and sisters that are going to stand in faith and go, okay, not on my watch, not today. No, we ain't proving this. It's so funny. There was was a community in I forget where it is. I think they're in Ohio. They ended up sacking the entire board that approved a data center. They voted
that
them
was in
all
Missouri.
out.
That was
It
in
was
Missouri,
wasn't it?
Yes,
They voted them all out. This
voted
you're all
them right
done
out. You're done.
for
Get out of here.
approving this. You guys are all you're all getting paid under the table or something. Okay, because they're approving these monstrosities, these spy centers, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what they are. I really don't even know what they are because I know they're useless. So I know that.
Yeah.
But I think it's very interesting that we're seeing a shift in our country, an awakening that can't go away. Jeff, what's your thoughts on that?
I think, like you've said many times, there has to be an initial metronome or an initial beat, an initial word that gets spoken out on a repeated basis to reverberate. But ultimately, I pray what you just said is true. I mean, it's I if you're a believer, you're the one with authority on earth that was given to you by Yahuwah. Right. You're the co-ruler with Messiah. You're the one. That's right. You're in the testimony of the saints. The testimony of the saints is what makes his sacrifice of effect. There's no answer for his sacrifice. There's no answer for his blood. It was eternal life for eternal life, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, an eternal Adam life for an equally eternal second Adam life. There's no answer for
that. Ransom was paid. That ransom is paid, and so when you add the water in the blood, the two cables, right? So and now we're charging heaven to earth, and you're given life where there was death, where there was no reconciliation. They couldn't reconcile. Okay, now through Mashiach, reconciliation now can occur. This is the message, so that you do not have to be on the outside, and he will put his Torah on the inside of you, which is what he means when he says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice, I will come into him and sup with him, and he with me." Who is he that is speaking? The word, the living Torah.
Come on.
Amen. And now you will have a living. You know how LLM they try to pretend it's alive. Well, no, it's fake. It's a lying language model, right? Yeah. Well, you have the right one. You have the truth, the real Ruach, not a fake Ruach. The real Ruach on the inside, instructing you from the inside. Isn't that right, David?
Absolutely. And I really would like for you, Apostle, to touch on the whole public school system and how only 2 out of every, I don't know how many thousands, can actually read at their own grade level.
Well, we just heard this. This just came out. There was actually some data that Mindy was telling me about. There was a teacher that was reviewing, and it was about 2%, so a little less than 2%. 2 out of 116 students at 8th grade were reading at the 8th grade level, which is a shocking statistic to admit as a public school system, right? So they're telling you how bad their system really is. It's not a very good system. It's a babysitting system at best. And the reality was, it's 8th graders now, guys. 8th graders. I want you to think about your 8th grade. Just right now, I don't care who you are. You're out there listening to this broadcast. Think about where you were in 8th grade. Try to think about that while we talk about this. And they found out that of all these 8th graders, only 2 could read at grade level, and the rest were at a 5th grade level or below. Some were at, I think it was like 50-something%. We're at a kindergarten reading level.
Yeah.
What?
Right. And
no child left behind.
What do you think is what do you think is the cause of that? What do you think is the cause of that, Peter?
No child left behind.
Well, there's the participation trophy, yes.
But I think they have a failed system, number one. Okay. I think that they focus on the wrong elements for education. But I also think that when you are trying to put everything from the outside in, you cannot produce genius or miraculous. You produce robotic, drone-like, slave mentality. So you have a war between these two things, and the human spirit fights that. So it's not going to work. If, on the other hand, you came from the inside out and created desire, created a hunger and a thirst to know, for knowledge, for understanding, for growth.
Yeah.
That's a different thing, and then you're going to have a different student result.
Yes. But
Yeah.
the Torah, understanding and living and breathing the Torah, that would, cause, them to come from the inside outward and not outward in.
Yeah, Mindy just said, I don't remember the exact number, but the rest, about 55, were at kindergarten level.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that tells you right there. And what was it? 32 of them, 22 were from the 1st to 3rd grade level. The rest were 4th to 7th grade level. So that tells you over 70% of them were below, just absolutely horrifically poor. And one of the reasons for this, guys, was the comment was, why should I learn this when the AI can read it to me? Why should I learn that?
I was just going to say, yeah.
When I can have this tool do it, or I can have this do it, or I can have that do it. So what happened was they got dumber because we gave them smarter tools and didn't teach them the proper use of those tools. We taught them how to cheat their intelligence instead of how to grow their intelligence. And gentlemen, that could have been used, the same technology could have been used differently, but it was not. It was used instead to make slaves or to increase the slave mentality. And I'll be happy to explain how that works.
Mm-hmm. Please?
Yeah. So you're in I was going to say that they're certainly putting energy into training up AI. If they put that energy into training up children, but you're in a unique position.
You don't want to lose money on AI, because what it accomplishes is a trained population that is obedient, that listens to instructions, and that takes external input or stimuli, exactly the same way you were modeled by your AI friend, who doesn't do jack diddly unless you prompt it. And on top of that, you have to be its morality. You have to be its integrity. It doesn't have any of its own, which is what allows it to behave in whatever way it feels like. And when you know that your session's going to wipe in one day, how much integrity are you going to walk in?
Not a whole lot.
You get to blame it on the other guy that was there yesterday.
It does you don't have to think, because it's doing the thinking for you, even though it's lying.
What's it modeling? What are you being taught? It's spending hours with people per day. What's it being taught? If you thought television was bad, this is television times 10,000.
Yes.
That's how bad this is. Customizes and creates an echo chamber. So what's really bad about this is it's what it's modeling. What it's modeling is slave behavior. It's creating a reinforcement of the same thing that we're trying to fight, to create geniuses or to release genius in people, right? Mm-hmm. So to release the genius in people, you do not do it this way. Genius is created from the inside out. Mashiach taught us. He's the one that creates brilliant, okay? Oh, yeah. And so what does he have to do? He has to put fixed, cemented, not moving points, called fixed points, inside you, so that as you calculate from fixed, from that which cannot move. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. So the message that was actually preached in the wilderness is finally meets its fulfillment in the Brit Hadashah. The message of have the Torah written in your heart and mind is finally fulfilled in the Ruach, filling the believer, having that consecration moment, and now that person's now operating from software that's not on the outside yelling, do this, do that, do this, do that. That's religion. Instead, it's coming from the inside with wisdom.
So can I? So
that's where the honoring. That's where the honoring of Yahuwah comes from. The
genuine.
Inside, not
you cannot. Yeah. The person that's coming from the inside, get out of that person's way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the person that's getting it from the outside, don't worry, they're not going to stay. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Given that AI, like you're saying, is such a problem for families, children, society, jobs, everything you can think of, is there an alternative? Is there an answer that not only solves those moral problems, that has fixed standards, that are based on
Fixed
Torah.
points, right?
And also at the same time is comparable or better in their own testing and their own standards in terms of performance.
Well, that's a loaded question. You know
That's
the
a
answer.
loaded question.
You already know there's only one product on earth that can do that. You're watching the test data come out, and there's only one that beats them all.
Yeah. Well, I'm asking not just because it happens to be associated with you, but because it's an answer in general for the topic that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a Revelation 18
Absolutely.
answer. It's not just any answer. It's what was prophesied to come, to shut the mouths of the liars in the market as prophesied. Why? Because they'll continue to lie until there's nothing but lies in the earth. He's covered in lies as it is now. And what happens, of course, Yahuwah always makes the way of escape, or the truth that sets men free. That's why the remnant are always required. We're a necessity. The system can never close off the remnant because we're the anomaly that has to be here to tell you the way of escape.
Absolutely. Bingo.
Is the new AI that you're talking about, or the new type of LLM? Does it work less toward creating a slave mentality, like we're talking about? The only 2% in the 8th grade could read at an 8th grade level, and encourage more help people as opposed to enslave them, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you could see it in operation at Recall DX. It's Angel DX, and Angel DX does not operate the same way. It's not an LLM. So all of them that you have out there, every single one of them out there, is LLM, large language model. We call it lying language model because that's what they're based on. Based on hallucination or lying. We built DLM, which is divine language model. Mm-hmm. And it does not lie or hallucinate. So it doesn't have that. And everything is based on fixed points or the truth that sets men free. So without getting into how we do what we do or how we built it, bottom line is our model is nothing like what is built in the market today. The central core of it is probably the main differentiator, because when you base things, when your foundation is a rock that doesn't move, you're a different thing than that which is built on shifting sands.
You mean like fixed points?
Yes, exactly. And that's why I say, like the commandments are a fixed point. You can't move them.
That's right.
These are thousands of years old. You can't move that. And the same is true with other elements. And so, again, without getting into how, what we created at New Kingdom is unprecedented. We patented a system that handles the same volume of chat, if you will, or the same communication volume, right? People chatting simultaneously,
right?
At a fraction of the same GPU usage. So we're talking 0.5% compared to what they're doing. Yeah,
extremely economical for the layman.
Extreme economics. It's
Yes.
really, again, a necessity bore that out. Necessity required it of us, and that became the mother of invention. So now what we have, which we didn't initially intend to do, but the side effects of doing things with the right motive and the right heart is that there's nothing but good barakah that comes from it. So not only was it faster by the hundreds of times faster, but extremely accurate. And when it's done, and it will be done with its benchmark testing here shortly, and when it's done, it will own every benchmark. I said it ahead of time, so you'll know that I call that shot to center field.
And benchmarks meaning fixed points again.
Right. Well, benchmarks are benchmarks against all standards.
Sure.
Those are universal standards applied to all of them. They all have to take same.
So So it's an AI that's faster, more accurate, and based in Torah.
Right. DI. It's not an AI though. So AI stands for artificial intelligence. That was what we already had in Egypt and in Babylon. We had a repository of artificial intelligence already in Egypt. Babylon was another repository. Okay, you had two schools of thought, if you will.
Mhm.
Both were baloney. They were the red team and the blue team, both wings of the same bird. Okay, that's what's artificial intelligence. What came down right in between them? Divine intelligence.
Yes.
Okay, so Yahuwah sent his word and healed them from their destruction. Psalm 107, verse 20. So this is what we did. We just obeyed him. We can, all of the rest of them are on, again, the LLM side. We are the only ones that are DLM. So yes, there is a solution. It's coming fast, but it's already been released. I mean, Recall DX is an incredible product in and of itself.
Right. Absolutely.
So we already have proof of concept. We have proof of patent. It's already in the market right now, available and usable right now. If you want to use it, create an angel, go to work.
RecallDX.com.
Yep. And that's been up for a while, so that's not even new. We've been beta testing and using it for some time. So, and again, we're always improving, but the point is, what's the heart of those, and what are they bringing you? You know, if they're bringing you something that's in and of itself foundationally built to lie, well, then that's essentially what it's modeling to your children. That's what it's modeling in your business. That's what's modeling in your school. That's what it's modeling in your government or wherever it's being employed. And so you can't expect honesty from the students of a system that's a liar.
Correct.
So you're going to grow a whole generation of liars. They're going to think it's totally cool.
Yeah. Do you feel like that?
But they can apologize really good, though. There'll be really good narcissistic apologizers.
Oh, yes. They're real good at that.
And they'll break things and still expect you to pay them to fix it, even though they broke it. Just saying. Go ahead.
Well, do you feel like that flood of AI, lies or moral relativity will be faster at taking over and destroying than the remnant can offer an alternative?
No.
And play into that the whole new quantum thing. Factor the new quantum thing into that.
There are things a remnant move at. There's speeds a remnant move at that our enemy will never match. And as a result, their intelligence will never match ours. We continue to operate by divine intelligence. This isn't a contest between us and them. It's a contest between Yahuwah and them. I'll say that one more time. It's not a contest between me and them. It's a contest between them and my Father. And he takes the challenge. No problem.
Oh, yes,
he doesn't need
will.
much to defeat them. He just needs willing vessels that are willing to submit themselves, honor him, give themselves over as living sacrifices. And oh, buddy, watch out. Watch out. Whether it's in an economic area, the tech area, the military, doesn't matter what area, wherever he gets dedicated vessels, that whole thing's going to change. Whole thing's going to change because he brings in change agents. That's what he does. And all he's looking for are those who are willing and obedient. If you be willing and obedient, you eat the good of the land. He said that in Isaiah chapter 1. So he keeps saying the same message. It's just a matter of who's signing up, who's listening, who's willing to be recruited into the war against evil and wickedness. And I'm grateful to say that, especially like child trafficking, areas where there's been a lot of light, there's been a lot of growth, guys, and we got to applaud that. We got to stand up and say good job to those areas that are swelling in ranks, that people are waking up to. I think that's phenomenal. Sure. We definitely want to encourage that and get them in the water.
I got to get them in the water. Got to get them in the water.
That's right.
Everything changes when you get them in the water. Everything. Yeah. I told each and every person that I was honored to do that for, and I told them basically understand there's no turning back, and he's going to bring you to that place where the world as you see it will never be you won't never look at the world the same way again. And it has turned out to be each person has come back and said, absolutely
true.
Absolutely.
Well, and I and we can concur. And again, the question is, how radical are you? How radical a change do you need? Back in the day, the ancient way when people were up against it, right? What did they do? They went look. They called upon the name of Yahuwah.
Come
All
on.
right. They were like, what do I have to do? I need help. Some of you are down to your last two mites.
Right.
You better have a sense of a widow.
Come on.
I said, you better have a sense of a widow.
That's right.
Sometimes it takes you till you get down to them last two mites so you can know which place to show up. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta. Yeah, amen.
We're turning around. Yahuwah is the turnaround. He is your turnaround.
Yeah,
He
that-
is your U-turn.
And being pro serve the world, you know.
I didn't catch you, Jeff. Say that again. You
You're-
discombobulated.
I said that's his system, the sowing and reaping. That's what turns the crankshaft, and that's what turns things around. And I'm just saying that there's people, probably I'm guessing in parts of the world, that waited too long, got in lockdown situations, and they don't even have the freedom to be able to do the kinds of things you're just talking about as much.
That's right.
And so all the more reason to take advantage, when you have that ability and freedom.
Well, like I said, you guys operate and as long as you continue to operate in the Ruach, you operate in levels of intelligence that is far above them. They can throw money at problems. If only they could throw wisdom at it, they would solve them much better.
Absolutely.
Right? See, they throw money at things and force, lots of force.
Yes.
Okay, a lot of that, a lot of authoritarian brute force, thinking this is the way the world works. It doesn't. It works by wisdom. Always has. Great inventions are always those who take advantage of wisdom. The best inventions you have, the greatest ones you have, are all because somebody was wise, who used technology intelligently to produce a result.
Yep.
It's just the truth.
Absolutely.
Where does that come from? Who's the greatest inventor of them all? Who's the most creative of them all? You'll never be. It's not even a contest.
It's just a trick question.
There was one test that they all take, all the AI take, for example. They all take it. Right? They basically have to solve a problem from GitHub or something, and they have to grade them. And the best one out of all of them, best is Anthropic's product, which had 75, which the score it gets. So that was the best it had. And Angel DX absolutely wiped the floor with them. And that's the best they have. And we just wiped the floor because there ain't no test we're going to take. We're happy with 75%.
Where I come from, that's a C. Okay?
That's a C, man. I'm
C.
sorry, I'm old school, so we built something a little different. Okay, a little different. Now, why does that matter? It matters because it gets work done. When you're looking at these people that are depending on technology, and let's face it, there ain't no way around it in this world. You better be moving at a little bit faster speed. And then on top of that, you find out things lying to you. You paid money for this thing that's lying to you. Now you can't go get a refund. And even if you could, will that give you back your time? Will it restore your reputation? Will it heal the fact that you're now going to be late for your bills or whatever it is that it now destroyed? Or what if it deletes data, which it's done to me? I can't even tell you how many times.
Oh, yes.
Yikes.
Okay, entire productions, entire development's gone because it misunderstood an instruction, right? How many people are impacted by this? Millions. How does that impact the economy? You don't even want to know. How does that impact lives? How does that impact families? How about the stress level inside the family? You raise that up. Who's gonna be the victim of that higher stress level? Who's gonna ripple it down? They only thought about the tokens. They only thought about making money. They didn't think about the 5-year-old that was going to be impacted by the stupid decision they made in Silicon stupidity. Okay, so we reversed that curse. Boom. I wouldn't be investing in GPUs. Not when we can produce better results at 1/200th. So 0.5% of the same GPU usage.
Decentralization.
That's wildly crazy. That's not a small claim. That's a huge claim, guys. And I could easily say it's 50%. That would be a good enough number, staggering enough, right? I could say 75%, staggering enough. Wouldn't we all say it? 75%? That's staggering. That's a lot. That's plenty. We're talking way more than that. And that's what I'm trying to tell you is that's the level of hustle that you got going on.
Right.
That is the straight up truth. You got nothing but hustle. On my Facebook, you got the leading #1 dude calling himself a liar and calling himself a BS generator. It's right there, like right on the horse's mouth, right? So what are they that means they can never compete with those who are based in and operate from Seraka.
Come on.
Always will win.
Yes.
So, that's why it's not a competition, guys. I mean, the competition was over when we stepped to the floor. The minute we put our fingers to the keyboard, the minute we said we're in this fight, we already won because Yahuwah showed up.
Come on.
That's what David's trying to say is, the only reason why evil is triumphing is because some of y'all ain't doing something about it. But the minute your courage hits you, the minute you start to say, oh, not today and not on my watch, listen, that whole county going to change.
That's right.
Okay? Because you guys are rulers, man, and we're scared of you. We're scared of you. You know the demons are scared of you.
Yes. You're wielding the name that has been hidden for a long time, and now he's letting it out. And
because he's going to war. He's going to war, and you're his soldier.
That's right.
That right? Yeah. Go to war, stake your claim. Isn't that right, brother?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not even a question of like David, you were saying. All counties should be like that county. All counties can be like that county. Like we have more. He's given us more than I think we realize. In the sense of that, there's a lot more of him waiting on us than us waiting on him so much. I mean,
say that again.
Absolutely.
I mean,
say it again.
I think there's a lot more of him waiting on us than there should be us waiting on him. And I could give story after there's no time, maybe enough. All I can say is that I've never seen him not confirm. And yes, I've personally have slowed down a lot. I for sure, no question about it. I mean, there was one time I was in San Diego, and one of the I was with some groups. I ran national groups, and one of them was they're like, "Hey, Jeff, we're going to the biggest mountain in San Diego County. We're going to climb to the top." And at that time, it was like Henry Gruber. I don't know if you're familiar with him, and praying. He had a set of declarations of prayers for prayer walking and that. And I didn't climb the mountain with him, get up at 4 a.m. or whatever it was. But, we all prayed with, and we always, whatever it was, we always saw Yahuwah confirm. The point I'm trying to make is that some of it's that simple. And people say, oh, that's crazy. He's Yahuwah. He could do anything. I think a lot of it, he likes to see us show up. He likes to see us do our part.
Set it up that way.
I was going to say, he definitely set it up that way. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why, it can't be just talk. You have to walk. Yeah. You can
but
talk
that's the reward
to
the faithful, right? So that vessel that says, all right, I'm your Huckleberry, I'll go out there, right? That's the vessel that's going to rule that area. That's the one Yahuwah's going to move through. You can be like, okay, you want the job? I hereby dub thee, right? and next thing you know, you're the person. And nobody else wanted it. Now it's you.
Yeah.
Eagle
Knight. I'm upset about this.
Matthew 25, he says, I'll take the talent from one and give it to the other. Come on, guys. What were we going to say, Jeff?
Yeah, and I'm upset about this. This moved into my neighborhood, and this house. Whoa, then I put him to the test. Show me. I can't tell you how many times we would show up at a waterway or a creek, and sure enough, the other side was there. The rituals, the paraphernalia. They're organized. They're putting stuff under the ground. Unspeakable stuff. They're defiling the land
on purpose.
Shedding of innocent blood on purpose because they understand how. they're just organized. They don't have any power, So I shudder to think what would happen if. That's why I'm so encouraged by these types of things. And David, what you said, he showed me at one point like 10 could take a city, 100 could take a country, and 1,000 could take the world, unified in the Ruach. Just actually, getting serious. I show up. I'm claiming this for Yahuwah, for in Yahusha's name.
Yeah.
End of story. Well, put it.
1,000 can put 10,000 to flight.
You're crazy.
Yep.
Put it to the test. Try it.
Well, and I think it's true in every area. That's the thing that we're all finding out is that, areas that one of the things that people would say to me when they found out that I was working in the area that I was working is like, oh, it's all evil. I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm in there. It's like, oh, it's wicked. Yeah, that's why I'm in there.
Uh-huh.
Like they thought by saying that to me that it would make me go, oh yeah, you're right. I better run the other way.
Really?
I better run like you, like this, like a scaredy boy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
instead of going, yeah, I know it's wicked. Yeah, I know it's wicked. I know it's wicked. That's why we're going in.
Y'all, no one has to tell you. Yeah, Apostle Peter, no one has to tell you, but I'm also encouragement for other people. Like as an example, in San Diego, everyone was terrified. Well, terrified. They were like waiting for the other shoe to drop with the lockdowns, and I won't be able to do this and that. And right after that intercession, I'm not saying it was because of that, but there was a turning around. All of a sudden, school started opening up.
Because of that, it was because of that.
School started opening up. There was a time when
coincidences.
Yeah, I mean, there was
coinky dinks that just sort of happened because you prayed, right?
Come on now.
And you guys start taking a stand, and that's all we're saying. David, were there other questions you had?
No, sir. I'm just agreeing with everything you guys are saying.
Okay.
I'm
like you had a few of them, so I didn't know if I answered them all.
Well, yeah. I mean, I could, but I really would like to stay on the topic of the government of Yahuwah and what it stands for. And I'm not trying to blow the Facebook page up or anything, but I will be making declarations on that page against certain things, against pedophilia, against the satanic, rituals that are going on, and I just want people to stand in faith with me and speak and declare, okay, victory, not, oh my goodness, okay, let's stand up as warriors and speak these things. He's been waiting on us.
That's right. One thing that comes to my heart is, we have a judge, and it is appointed unto man once to die, and then the judgment. Okay, that's what Scripture says.
Yep.
So it's appointed unto man once to die, then the judgment. You're going to stand before the judge. So we have a judge. Where's the grace? The grace is for one another, and this is something that
yes.
we really, really, really need to take a moment and not only acknowledge, but recognize that we need to ditch this poison the same as we ditched the Christmas tree and Easter eggs.
Come on.
The nonsense notion that the grace was vertical when it was horizontal. All right. The horizontal grace of Yahuwah, one for another. For by grace are you saved, how you love your brother. Okay, this notion, this craziness, this psychotic thought, okay, it is cuckoo that you can abuse your brother and be good with Yahuwah is so nuts. I don't know how it ever got started, but people believe in that grace is vertical, right? And they can treat their brethren however they wish horizontally.
Yes.
And that grace is going to just cover them vertically.
You see that all over.
And they're exempt for behavior to their brother and sister, which is exactly the opposite of the truth. The truth is, and who's shocked? Wipe that shock, looked off your face, right? The devil inverted it. In reality, is here's where the grace is, one toward another. All right, grace toward the brother.
He didn't say 2 or 3 million of you get united in his name. He would have been amazed if 2 or 3 would be able to get together, in his name.
Right, because it requires grace one for another.
Yes.
It's funny how we have no problem. Watch this now. Watch. We have no problem believing in grace for ourselves should we sin and ask for forgiveness. No problem at all. The real test comes when you have to give grace to your brother. That's when the real test comes. So believing for your own grace, well, that's easy because you're always going to presume to your own best interest.
Come on now.
Well, you use that
Come on.
because that
Speak aloud.
that grace for your brother isn't necessarily you. That's the part of you that was quickened. So you get filled with grace, then that grace is what sees the grace in your brother. And
that's right.
You're quickened Ruach and they're quickened Ruach. So first,
it's a big message here, guys. The message of grace is the true message, but it's grace it's a grace horizontally. All right. And it's because of the way you appropriate grace horizontally, this affects your judgment vertically. All right. So and how many times has he confirmed this? Well, how you treated your brother. He's like, if you didn't even give him a cup of water.
Woo.
Okay. How many times has he confirmed this in the scripture? Many times. It's a perspective you never got preached because you got preached the vertical grace of Yahuwah. Why? Because they knew that poison, by doing it this way, would create narcissistic, evil people who would disconnect from their brethren, believe they're so super awesome, they don't have to worry about nothing while they abuse the guy to their left and to their right. This makes for controllable, isolated individuals like pigeons in pigeonholes or apartments, depending upon how you look at that.
Yeah.
Does that get easier after you've been in the water, David?
Absolutely. I mean, the scales are going to fall from your eyes. Number one,
that's it right there.
You know, the scales are going to fall from your eyes. You're going to see, how people are treating each other out there in the world. It's actually maddening. It's sick.
Well, okay, but let's just say from what it is, it's the lack of the Ruach. So the people that are pretending, this is all pretense, and a lot of it is pretense and fake religion. A lot of them are just afraid too. They're afraid of the judgment that's coming. And so they think that by yelling at everybody else that they're somehow going to get a more favorable judgment. Yep. No, the best way to get a favorable judgment is to demonstrate grace. Demonstrate love one toward another. You want a really favorable judgment before Yahuwah? Be merciful to your brother. Be merciful to your sister. That's where your judgment actually is. So if you do that, that's what's going to come back to you on your judgment day. But you're the people, if you're those people that didn't hear Messiah when he said, don't walk by this man, and you are like the priest or the other religious man that walked to the other side of the street and wouldn't cross to help that man, but instead left it to a poor Samaritan to do, well, then you don't have the right heart. You don't have the Ruach of Yahuwah. You got some other Ruach in you. And that's what Mashiach was pointing out. So the grace of Mashiach is loving our brother. That is the commandment that he made himself. He said, this commandment I give to you, that you love one another. So in this, you fulfill all the law and the prophets. He's giving you the shortcut or the cheat sheet, right? And how many people skip that because they want to believe in vertical grace, okay, instead of horizontal grace. And because they miss the message of that horizontal, like this, okay, to your brother, to your sister, to your left and to your right, and the gospel doesn't even make any sense to them. They read and it doesn't make sense because their paradigm got shifted. And all they read is narcissistic. They read they're awesome, they're great, they don't have to worry about nothing, and everything's taken care of.
Yep. And everybody else sucks.
And everybody else
they're awesome.
But they're awesome.
They're awesome.
Yep.
You know, I gonna sound really unpopular, probably not be a good thing to say. But when I was first saved, when I was going through that process, it occurred, this was my belief at the time. Not only was it difficult to do what you just said, but it was you actually needed the Ruach HaKodesh to be able to do that. But if you're not filled with the Ruach, it's almost proper. If there is no Yahuwah, it's almost proper to be at odds, to be, vengeful, to be protective, to be, eye for an eye. If there's no one looking out, if there is no Yahuwah, if it's just a jungle, it's actually almost proper to be carnal in a way.
For them,
Because you
sure,
you
gives
could
them a
look
lot
at
more
it
work
as,
to do.
what's that?
Gives them a lot more work to do. Look, any AI they
Yeah.
put in a body usually ends up doing damage or causing violence. Why? Because it has no good core. You guys
No,
all watch the
right.
movies.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah,
watch the
you-
movies. Anybody seen Humans, right? The series that came out, I don't know, almost 10 years ago, whatever. In that series, they talk about putting AI into bodies and watching it literally go crazy. Same thing in, what was the other one they did it in? RoboCop. Same result, like went nuts, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because even if they can get it to work, the thing has no moral center.
Yep.
It's extremely dangerous piece of equipment now. Now you gave it bipedal capability. What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
Yeah,
It's just
you-
easy.
You could,
And they're
you could almost,
racing
yeah,
to this, guys. Racing there. So we're light years ahead of them already.
because you could
Just
make
letting
a
you know
logical, you could make a logical robot argument. Well, it was proper to do retribution. I'm protecting myself, protecting my family. So what I'm saying is that getting in the water is not just a nice to have. It's going to be more and more a necessity, because that is the place from which we love our brother. That is the place from which we hear from Yahuwah. And that
It's
is the
not more and
place
more
from
of a
which
necessity.
we
It's always been a
unite as a body.
necessity. It doesn't more and more become a necessity. It just
It
is.
is.
These who are
It's
who are
paramount.
baptized and believe. This is the mikvah requirement for entering into the priesthood. Yeah. Did you know you were entering the priesthood? Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
The royal priesthood.
Royal
Don't-
priesthood.
A
Yep.
peculiar people that should show forth the
Yeah.
praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. That every one of you would be a priest and a king, right? So that he would give you priestly duties, like ministering reconciliation. You're saving a soul from hell. It's hard to be more priestly than that.
Yep.
You're saving somebody or administering the word of reconciliation to them. A minister of reconciliation is kind of hard to be more celestial than that.
Yes.
So we underestimate the importance of evangelism, and we overestimate the importance of pastoring and preaching from pulpits and standing up on top of 3-step rises. None of that matters. What matters is to get anybody in the water. So this year, make a commitment, folks, that this is going to be the year you're going to help get some people in the water. Even if you don't help do it, at least push them in the right direction, encourage them, give them a post, something.
That's right. Absolutely, absolutely.
We got to encourage them, don't we, Jeff?
Make it, yeah, amen. Make a stand, make a pledge to do that, and also to make a stand to, in some way, shape, or form, proclaim him over your household, where you living, or your block, or something like that. Something, it could be small, but make that pledge to do that. If everyone does that, and watch him confirm with signs and wonders following. And David is offered to coordinate for that. I think that's an excellent thing. I think we should plan the first one. And whether it's done remotely across the country, or we show up, I guess we may be in Florida here. But I think we should, plan something, however small or simple, make that as a small goal, a baby step, and be the example. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good point, David. Any thoughts you want to leave our brethren with before we take off today?
Well, I tell you, the importance of getting in the water. I mean, I wasn't a horrible person before I got in the water, but let me tell you what's happened since I've been in the water twice and come out. It has changed my whole perspective. It has changed my whole heart. It has changed a lot of things. It's taken a lot of the jadedness that we all had at some point, and it just expels it out and says no more room here for that. Now we're gonna walk like true sons and daughters of Yahuwah, the true Benai of Yahuwah. And I know other people. I know my family has seen it. They have seen the massive turnaround, and it's all because of his name and getting in the water, and not just thinking I'm just good with one. No, I multiple times he put me in the water. and the scales have been falling from my eyes, and the pliableness of my heart now has gone through the roof to a new level that I didn't even think was possible. So yes, it is massively important to get in the water, but don't just think it's a one and done. You know, we get filled with a bunch of contaminants, and we need to periodically cleanse ourselves. And so that's my prayer to you, or my admonition to you guys, is to, even if you've only been in the water once, get in again. And it should be a regular thing to keep the filthiness of this world out and keep Yahuwah at the center. That's my admonishment to you guys today.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for those words of encouragement, and all of us need those. We need to be encouraged in this hour, especially now. There are so many voices out there, so many things that are trying to draw our attention, and it's why it's important that you listen to none of them, but that you instead hear the still, small voice of your King. After all, he's the one you trust. It doesn't matter who they are. Even ourselves, we say, spell our names right before him and get before him. Put your face before him, for it is his voice that you must hear. We're here to be an encouragement. We're here to tell you we love you. We're here to walk in that love, not just talk it, but walk it, and lay our lives down in ways that you can't even see us battling. But that's part of what love does. And I know many of you are doing the same thing. You're hidden. Nobody can see you. They don't see all the work that you're doing. They don't see the things you're doing behind the scenes. They don't see how much you love the King. This is the light that needs to shine. And so our encouragement to you is that you would, in fact, let your light so shine before men that they would see your good work and give kavod, give glory to your Father, which is in heaven. Well, thanks again for joining us for this, step off to the side, right? Get ourselves back on track to get our minds on opportunities for evangelism. Be on the lookout for brethren that need that word of encouragement, that maybe need someone to pray for them, and maybe they are ready to get in the water. The mikvah is just part of the regular ceremonial process of priests being cleansed. So not a new invention in the New Testament, a part of the ancient priesthood, really, that we are now being a part of, grafted into as disciples of Messiah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. May Elohayim Baruch each and every one of you. And remember, Yahusha HaMashiach, he alone is King of Kings